Ms. Sykes. Yeah. So we got this. We got this from Regional Planning Council. Am I misunderstanding this? So get it no later to the report, no later than the 5th for publication on January 8th. January 8th is right here, Friday. So if you advertise it there, it would be effective the 11th, would it not? No, that's not right. No. If you get it there, then it would be effective on the day of printed. Okay, thanks. 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be there on the 18th. Okay, cool. Thank you. Maybe.
Did you want to speak here or do you want to speak all the way at the end? Like before he starts, you want to speak? And then go down. I'd like to call the January 4th, 2021 meeting of the City Council for the City of Lake City to order. If everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. We ask that you look over our deliberations tonight, that it's pleasing in your eyes, and what we do is for the betterment of our community. And we ask for your guidance, and that's all. In your name we pray. Amen. Ms. Sykes, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Sampson,
Here.
Mr. Green, Mr. Hill,
Here.
Mr. Jefferson,
Here.
Mayor Witt,
Here.
Mr. Coberline,
Here.
Mr. Huffenberger,
Here.
Chief Gilmore.
Okay. Your proclamation minutes, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as published.
Second. Motion and second to approve the agenda is published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is presentation of persons wishing to address council. I have several, I think Mr. Warren and Mrs. George, and I wanted to speak at the end of the meeting. And, then I have Pastor Jonathan Shaw. If he would, come to the podium. And when everybody speaks tonight, if you would go to the podium and give your name and address, so we'll have it for the record.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jonathan Shaw, located at 308 Southwest Callaway Drive, here in the city of Lake City, Florida. I came to address bring to the attention to the board, the council board, concerning property on Wilson Street. We have a violation notice that came across to us concerning the property, and we wanted to address that. Well, we just recently purchased the property again. It goes all the way back to 2001 when I first got that property with the goal to build a church on it, and some setbacks came along and I had to give it up. And Lord made a way where we can get it again. So it's back in my vision again to put a church in that neighborhood, right there at 729 Wilson Street. And when we were there before, in 2001 time period, and in 2009, of course, I had plans drawn up concerning the building that we proposed to put up there, the church building. And before, when we were there, I had put a storage shed, to store stuff towards the prospect of putting in the building and for the church. And so when we lost it, I moved my storage shed off the property. And when we got it back, because I wasn't bothered with when I had it the first time, I just went right on it and we put it back on it. But this time we got a violation. Matter of fact, we had blocks. I had inquired and purchased some blocks for the new building. And we had that on it at the first time. We're talking about a 20-year period now that was a space between that to now. And so we put the blocks back. I took the blocks with us when we lost the property. And like I said, I ended up bringing all of it back to the property. Well, then I got a notice saying that I violated for doing that without a permit or whatever. But so that's why I'm here to ask that we be able to leave that stuff there, because we are planning to build a church there, and we didn't see why we have to go around it. Time up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. So my desire did not wanting to have to move my storage sheds, church storage sheds, that we have stuff in there that we were going to be selling for, fundraiser towards the building, and so that's the purpose we having the storage sheds over there for the goal of the church, and the blocks, of course, to go around the church that we proposed there. But like I said, we got this notice that we are in violation. We need to move it all off, and we want to ask for the mercy of the board to see can they allow us to leave that, since our objective is to build a church and it's for church purpose.
Don't really say what the violations were.
Well, I have it here.
But you got me.
Don't.
Yeah, the violations are, he's got construction material, without an active construction site going on.
Right.
No permit. He's got a shed, which is considered an accessory, structure, which by the land development regulations, you cannot have a, accessory structure unless you have a primary building already there. And that's what's, doing it now. Why he's written that.
Now those buildings, you said you're using for storage?
Yeah.
Do you have a time period when you plan on starting the actual construction of the site? Now we have another print writer, because of course we had it done in 2009, we're gonna have the people hold back in. But I got a new guy, I can go. That's in process now. Waiting on the plan. The plan.
One other thing is for him to have a church in that zoning district, he has to apply.
If you
for a
could go over to the
special
mic.
exception. In order for him to, have a, church at that location, that zoning district will require a special exception from the Board of Adjustment. So he would have to file for a special exception for that to take place, which I think I gave him all the paperwork for that, or Beverly did. And we're just waiting on that to get submitted back into us so we can get it scheduled.
Yeah. Is there a way that if he filed for that exception, that there could be some delay to the time frame to move? Because if he's gonna do it, it doesn't make sense to move the blocks, then move them back. I don't know if there's a way to, maybe like he goes in and files the paperwork, would that put a delay on it? Normally?
Well, if he would, apply for a permit and submit everything in for review, then it would be where he could, keep the materials there and not be in violation of the land development regulations.
And you have to have the new drawing before you can apply?
Yes, sir. I mean, they'd be submitted at the same time, the application and the new drawings.
Mr. Shaw, how close are you on the new drawing?
Well, I was waiting on I was actually waiting on the guy. I can put in the call and see how close he's on it, but, now I don't know, these drawings that I have, now I don't know how long a period you gonna have old drawings. Do y'all have that, you know, how long you have old drawings? This was done in 2009.
Yes, sir, but we couldn't go by those now because you're applying for a permit now, and the new 2020 codes just came into effect January 1st.
Oh. Okay. Oh, all right, well, I can check tomorrow and see can I get a rush on the drawing so we can get that all submitted.
Okay,
I'll check.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to address council that's in the audience? If there's nobody in the audience, is there anybody online? Okay, if there's nobody else, then we will move on. And the first item is old business. We're gonna hold a public hearing on City Council Resolution 2020-122. Carolina, would you do that by title?
A resolution of City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, adopting an inventory list identifying city property deemed appropriate for use as potential affordable housing, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date, period.
Anybody in the audience or online wish to speak to this, City Council Resolution 2020-122? If not, we will close the public hearing and move into adoption of the resolution. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt City Council Resolution 2020-122.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor,
Yes.
in reviewing this resolution, looking at paragraph 3,
Mhm.
uh, unless I'm interpreting it wrong, it may need to be reworded
You said
so
all.
that it will tailor to the heading of the resolution. It says in that particular paragraph, it says, when it mentioned the section 166.041, Florida statute requiring that the city council review and inventory list of affordable housing. And that's my concern, reviewing a list of affordable housing. We're not reviewing a list of houses, we're reviewing a list of the properties. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Jefferson. However, the properties we're reviewing is for the Affordable Housing Act or statute 166.0451, which says that we will review properties that would be appropriate for affordable housing, meaning the develop of that housing, whether the property is vacant or not.
So what you're saying is it's okay the way that it's stated?
Are you, well, I want to make sure that I understand you. Are you saying that the first use of affordable housing, meaning the inventory list of affordable housing attached here too as Exhibit A, you would like to see that say that the inventory list of properties attached here too as Exhibit A is adopted?
Yes.
Is that what you are saying?
That's what I'm referring to.
Well-
This gives the impression that it's saying something differently in the body of the resolution there. Saying that we are doing an inventory listing of the houses.
Okay.
Versus the property.
Okay, I see. I think that what it would be proper then is, well, first of all, it could be the resolution could be passed as is, or it could be passed with a motion to correct that use in section 2, where it says the inventory list of affordable housing. You would change that to the inventory list of available properties. Either way, the Exhibit A is attached, so it would be appropriate for the resolution to be passed either way. But I do recognize the semantics that you're recommending. I do believe that that would be 100% accurate.
I would like to amend the motion to include that wording.
Okay. We have a motion with an amendment and a second with, to that amendment. Anything further? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson,
Yes.
Mayor Whit.
Yes. Next, we're to move into new business, and we have City Council Ordinance number 2020-2176 on first reading. Mr. Chairman, would you read that by title?
An ordinance of City of Lake City, Florida pursuant to petition number ANX 20-02 relating to voluntary annexation, making findings, annexing certain real property located in Columbia County, Florida, which is reasonably compact and contiguous to the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, into the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date, period.
Okay, for the record, the agenda has that we open a public hearing on this, and we don't because it's a first reading, so it's a motion of the City Council Ordinance number 2020-2176.
Mayor, I move for the approval of ordinance number 2020-2176.
Second.
First reading.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Jefferson,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mayor Whit.
Yes. Next is the same situation with the public hearing as city council ordinance number 2021-2177 on first reading. Mr. Coberline, would you read that by title?
An ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending the code of the City of Lake City, Florida to provide for lien amnesty and forgiveness of fines and liens associated with code enforcement proceedings, period.
Is there a motion that the city council ordinance number 2021-2177?
I make the motion for adoption of city council ordinance number 2021-2177.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
if we could, would like the council to consider if we could waive that fee for hardship cases, if somebody really can't afford any cost at all, that, under those circumstances, it may be appropriate not to charge the fee.
Yes, sir. I would suggest that it would be a substantive amendment. There's call for an application fee in two instances, and they do differ from one another. And so we should not even read it for the first time either, because it would need to come back for a first reading anyhow. So I guess we could have a quasi workshop right now during this meeting. If you have any other suggestions, if I'm speaking to you, Mayor, if the board has any other suggestions to this program, then we'll be glad to take them, go back with the application fee revisions in those two instances, as well as any others, and hopefully bring it back for a clean first reading.
How many accounts does this qualify under, and would it make sense to maybe waive the fee altogether?
It may, if we're trying to get property that's been out of compliance because they can't afford to do anything with it. If you want this to be effective, we got to be able to ensure that we're able to encourage people to do this and they have the ability to do it, because that $50 or $100 fee is small in comparison to having to have the property blighted for forever and devaluing all the other property around it, which could cause, the property value to be lower and then subsequently you get less taxes out of the surrounding properties.
Could we have this rewritten to remove the fee then? And bring it back?
Sure. If it's,
I'd like to amend the motion and postpone it, or no, I'd actually like to table it. Is that correct?
postpone, I think, is what you.
Postpone?
Yes, sir. Postpone.
I'd like to postpone.
Okay, is there a second?
Okay.
There's a motion and a second to postpone it. Any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd ask you to call for discussion in the sense that if there are any additional revisions, we go ahead and try to get those so that we can again have a clean first reading at the next meeting.
Anybody else have any amendments?
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I think there is. Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next, we'll move into resolutions. First, the city council resolution 2021-001. Chairman, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the city by and through its police department to enter into the Columbia County Multi-Jurisdictional Task Force Agreement 2021 with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, providing for conflicts and providing an effective date, period.
Is there a motion as to city council resolution 2021-001?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2021-001.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is city council resolution number 2021-002. Mr. Chairman, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of an agreement with the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Forces for fiscal year 2021 and the city through the Lake City Police Department, accepting financial assistance from the federal government for overtime and expenses associated with strategic initiative programs, period.
Is there a motion as to City Council Resolution 2021-002?
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of City Council Resolution number 2021-002.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Ox, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution number 2021-003. Mr. Goodwin, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, declaring certain personal property owned by the city to be either surplus to its needs and sold at a publicly noticed sale, or determined to be obsolete, non-serviceable, or beyond economic repair pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions and requirements of Section 2-183 of the City Code, and authorizing the city to remove such surplus property when sold or disposed of from the fixed assets of the city, period.
Is there a motion as to City Council Resolution 2021-003?
Mayor, I move for the approval of resolution number 2021-003.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Ox, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next, City Council Resolution 2021-004. They will not read that by title.
A resolution of City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, ratifying the mayor's extension of the state of emergency arising from the COVID-19 public health emergency.
Mr. Goodwin, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. The last week after this agenda packet was disseminated, the governor passed an executive order, I believe on Wednesday, number 2020-316, extending the state of emergency for another 60 days. It was set to expire, I believe, the 2nd of this month, but either way, that's irrelevant. Now, it was extended for another 60 days.
Okay. Is there a motion as City Council Resolution 2021-004?
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of resolution number 2021-004.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Ox, you call the roll.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution number 2021-006. Mr. Carolina, do you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, accepting the bid from and authorizing the execution of an agreement with Cruz Custom Services Incorporated for the planting of trees at the city's biosolid site and spray field at a cost not to exceed $32,500.00, period.
Is there a motion as City Council Resolution 2021-006?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion on City Council Resolution number 2021-006.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Ox, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution number 2021-008. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a release and satisfaction of lien, the lien relating to a code enforcement lien being recorded in the official records book 1347, page 2347 of the public records of Columbia County, Florida. Period.
Is there a motion as City Council Resolution 2021-008?
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of resolution number 2021-008.
Second. Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Oxley, call the roll.
Mr. Jefferson,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Mayor Whit.
Yes. Okay, next we move into Departmental Administration, process renting out Girl Club building, Mr. Hilton.
Okay. The city's current recreational department budget includes about $64,000 for utilities and $22,690 for repairs and maintenance. I would propose the city consider renting out these two Girls Club buildings for after-hours services. There's a number of considerations that you should look at. And if the city would desire to rent to nonprofit groups, there would be two groups that have requested very serious interest in renting the Girls Club buildings. Happy House and the Lollipop Daycare Center both have nonprofit status. Each nonprofit group serves a different age group and could provide this service to a broader spectrum of the community. If the facility is rented to two different parties, a fence would need to be installed between the buildings. The fence would be at a city cost. There would also be a cost for making the bathrooms of each building accessible to both boys and girls. This cost should be paid by the renters. Leases, I've reviewed a couple of other leases of similar nature, and typically they have the renters paying the utility and maintenance costs, and a typical monthly charge has been $500 for the space plus utilities and maintenance. Other options include doing a request for proposals to anyone interested in providing after-hour services. Once the council would decide on a process, we could go back and come back with leases here. You've got two parties that have, indicated a strong desire to rent that area. And I think if you rent to nonprofits, it's more likely the cost will be hopefully lower for the people using the services. But I need direction from council as to how you want me to proceed.
Okay. I have several people that want to speak at this time. And we'll hear from them first. Mr. Sylvester Warren. Okay, everybody that speaks, if you'll give your name and address or whatever for the record.
Okay, my name is Lavelle George,
Okay.
123 Northeast Kirk Court, Lake City, Florida. Joanne George, 1273 Southwest Panther Place, Lake City, Florida.
Oh, okay. Yeah, both of you, all right? Go ahead.
We've been in discussion with Mr. Heffenberger since before November about the Girls Club. My understanding was tonight he was going to suggest to you guys that he was going to lease one of the buildings to Lollipop. And so tonight was just supposed to be a time for you guys to vote on it. And so now we have a whole different outcome. We've met on several occasions at the office, and it was just a matter of formalities as what kind of requirements that we need for this and that. And so I had a lot of our lollipoppers and our lollipopper support come tonight just to make sure that Mr. Heffenberger stands on his word. Because without our word, what are we doing here? Because you told us that we were going to have a building. And so that's why we're here looking for the building tonight. We've been in business for over 40 years. Lollipop is a household name. And not only do we serve children, we go outside of the building. We sponsor for your little league teams. We sponsor cheerleaders. When people play basketball, football, or whatever event that they're in and their parents can't afford it, Lollipop steps in. And guess what? You don't see it on Facebook because we're not doing it for publicity. We're doing it from our heart. And so today to have a discussion about it, I'm very insulted because when we first spoke of this, it was actually a done deal. He was very excited about it, and so were we. And so now today, to find out that that was just a, I guess, show and pony, dog and pony show, as they say. And so now I plead for you to give me some type of guidance. I want to have faith in the city council. I want to have faith in Lake City. I want everybody to know that this little black girl can have a building right there by Young's Park. You know, because we work every day. And we love all children. And I'm very disappointed to know that when it was someone else, that it was all roses and rainbows. And so now today I'm jumping through this hoop. I have this, we have all the qualifications. So why not Lollipop?
Why not Lollipop? Just like she said, we're a pillar in this community. We do everything. You just don't know about it because we're not on social media. But we're here. We're here. We support our community. We think that with Mr. Heffenberg's recommendation that he promised us that he would do tonight, that we should have a building over at the Girls Club. We had something, Vanessa George, 930 Northeast Joe Coney. Lollipop is actually the only after-school center in the county. True. We are the only center that provide after-school care for your older kids.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Jill mentioned there's an age difference. What age do you guys cater to normally?
Our standalone after-school center, which Ms. Lavelle George is the head of, we cater from 6 to 12. Now, whereas they're housed with Lollipop Child Care Center, we go from after school to 8. Then they can go to her.
Basically, Lollipop covers all ages. From infant, 14 and up. Every aspect of child care we cover.
Well, I'll make the motion that Mr. Heffenberg get with the Lollipop staff and make this happen. They took out their time to come out here tonight for this, for at least one of these buildings, and I don't see why it should not happen.
Okay, before we have a motion, Mr. Orr, did you want to speak? Okay. All right, then, yeah.
Well, I have another question.
Sure, absolutely.
When we're talking about the two buildings, there would be a fence put in between, is that what you're mentioning, that
Yep.
the city would do?
Yes,
Do you know what the cost of that is?
if the city would put it in themselves, obviously it would be cheaper. We'd have to have fencing material going across just to separate the two properties, but anything else, the tenants or renters would, I'm suggesting they would cover any other costs.
Yeah, any expenses, so, as far as like making the bathroom proper and doing
Right.
all that.
Right, correct.
Excuse me, I'd like to say something. When the deal came to the table the first time, we were unaware of that deal. When I found out about it, the deal was that the other people of interest that had an interest in the building could lease the building for $100 a month.
No, a year.
A year?
A year.
A year.
And that was both buildings.
That was both buildings. When we come into the picture,
Go ahead.
things changed. But we would like to lease the building for $100 a year also. For the same, everything the previous people of interest were getting, we want the same thing.
We didn't
I'm not even sure that there should be, I think we have to charge something. I think $1 would probably
That's what you would charge,
suffice.
100.
I think you have to charge something to,
Mhm.
I've seen it before where people lease places like that, it was $1 a year, but then any cost on the building itself would be up for you guys to take care of if we go that way.
What about the bathrooms?
Yeah,
That's what we gotta find out what the cost is. Any idea what
They can take care of that.
Excuse me, we are very familiar with DCF and their rules and regulations. So we already know what we have to do when we get the building. We already familiar with that. We've been in business for over 30 years, 40. So we are familiar with their rules and regulations.
As far as marketing?
Bathrooms, modifications, everything. The fence down the middle, everything.
I have one more question. Joe, is the other party still interested in the other building?
I have not talked to them. I do not know. If they are not, then that side would be available.
So
Well,
if-
maybe they're here, I'm sorry. Is the other party here? Any representatives to the other party? Because most of the times, I think when people are interested in something, they show up.
Well, let's find out about the other one, but the one that you've already talked about, let's go ahead and do it.
And from my understanding in our last conversation at the lighting of the lights downtown, Mr. Heffenberger said that, hey, are you guys interested in both buildings? Because the other party did not want to participate if they had to split. And I said, well, sure, we're definitely taking off your hands. Because we're here to help our children. Because the statistics show how much benefit after-school programs have for young children. And that's what we want to, that's what we're doing now. That's what we want to continue to do. Yes. I don't want to just be the largest Black center. I want to be the largest center. I want to help the children. That's what we're here for. Because we can stay in our rooms and be on the computers, but guess what the children want to do? They want to go outside. They don't care if it's cold or anything, and I want to provide that for them. I want to provide that nurturing care for them. And that's what we've been doing for over 40 years at Lollipop, and that's what I want to continue to do right here at Young's Park with the Girls Club, with your help, of course.
Thank you. All right.
one more thing, Joe. I would like to see the same offer that was on the table for the other party be offered to this organization. It's no more than right. If you're gonna offer it for one, offer it for both of them.
Definitely.
And that's all I have.
Okay,
For clarification, while we are discussing it now, so we won't have to deal with some issues after the fact, I just want to ask, I guess, either Mr. Heffenberger or the attorney, are there any legal issues or ramifications as far as nonprofit versus profit for leasing or renting public property? Because I don't want to just have to come back before us again if there's some issues that we're gonna have to deal with down the road.
Mr. Jefferson, that's a good question. There are no known legal issues related to this not-for-profit entity leasing from the city. It would be up to the city's discretion. From the legal aspect, we simply need a term, meaning a length of time, annual, more than annual, a compensation, which sounds like some maintenance issues, and a nominal amount of compensation. And then we need a legal premises. And then we can craft a lease. And also the use of the property, which I think Mr. Elfenberger has that direction to gain from the young ladies of the entity.
Okay.
So we're not sure yet about the other party, if they're interested or not.
That's correct. I think think they had talked to Terry that they were not firm about it. So,
They're not what?
not firm about going ahead or not. I could contact them, let them know, or get a conclusive answer from them one way or the other, as far as whether they're willing to go with the both sides or with the one side, or not. If they were not interested in the other side, would you want to just rent the whole thing out here, or what?
Well,
Would y'all want the whole,
yes, and that'll eliminate you having to do a fence or any modifications. So we will take it off buildings.
Thinking about terms, so like a 1-year renewable with, maintenance being on the end of the renter. And then legal premises, we can determine once we know what the other parties think.
Sure.
But I think as far as fee, I'd make it a nominal fee. I mean, I think we have to charge something. But, yeah. I think maybe $1 a year.
We'll take that.
And how much is the average cost for the kids when they come to the program?
What's the average cost?
Yeah.
It just depends. A lot of our children come through, funded through the state of Florida, and they have subsidized funding, and that's the majority. Our private pay runs like
After school.
65, run about $75 a week. And that includes if they were there all day today, like today was a non-school day, the fee would be the same, $75.
Yeah, but the average after schooler private pay parent is probably about $60.
And y'all would have some modifications you'd have to do to provide certain things possibly. I don't know.
That includes, meals, breakfast, lunch, if they're there all day, and snacks.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Mayor, Mr. Sampson, I'll allow you to address this with the speakers. My office recently ran into an issue where the lease instrument was only for 1 year, and the tenant received or wanted to apply for grant funding or other types of funding through government entities, and they wanted to see a leasehold term of longer than 1 year or more skin in the game, if you will. So I would not want us to hold up any application processes, say 9 months from now, because there's only 3 months left on the lease term. If the young ladies do receive or want to apply for any type of funding, I don't know what funding is in that industry. I'm not in that space, but my firm ran into that issue with another local government, and I would not want us to be scurrying around for a special meeting or something holding up an application. So when you do say 1 year, I think that's very gratuitous, but we may want to address it with them now so that we're not beholden to 1 year when we're drafting something up over the next week or two.
Do you guys have any limitations in your funding?
I would suggest 5-year lease.
So to go back to you, Mr. Sampson, we could do a 5-year with 1 year automatic renewals if you'd like, or you can do a straight 5. The 5 with automatic renewals or the straight 5? Okay.
Do we need to, does that take care of the direction that we need to move? Or do we need to put some kind of motion?
You need a motion.
All we need is a consensus, and then we would need to bring back the final instrument for you all to approve via resolution.
Is that a consensus with council? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Let's get some kids out there.
All right, thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Great. No.
Any comments, council?
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I wish everybody a happy and prosperous new year.
I have a comment, Mayor.
Yeah.
If it's okay. I've been talking to some different people, and trying to figure out what the vision statement of the city is. And I cannot find any vision. We don't have a unified vision for what the city needs to do moving forward. And I would like to recommend that we, as a council, get together, get a process in order, and let's get a vision statement out. And that way, you know, the employees, they do a good job, but they don't have a set vision to follow. So a lot of times, they're following what they think's best for that department, because there's nothing bigger for them to look at. Now, that could entail several things. I think we need some strategic planning. I think that we would need, meetings with the public to see what the, citizens request, but I do think that it would be good in a pretty short order to get started on a vision statement.
I don't remember how many years, this sites or anybody remember when we met Camp Weed, was that 4 or 5 years ago?
Mayor, I believe that was in about 2009, and I did send some information to Mr. Sampson earlier today about that.
I agree with Mr. Sampson, we need to do that again and kind of look at a 5-year plan, get a vision statement, get input from the community. And with the way things are going and getting better with the, virus and all, maybe if we kind of start working towards that, then maybe by a month or two, a few months, we can, that would be my, that would do it either. But I agree with that.
Excuse me, Mayor, it was 2016.
16?
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, anything else? Thank y'all very much, we will be adjourned.